They say you can pick your friends, but you can't pick your family. Imagine if you were born into an Amish family and lived the simple life.
Being Amish, no electricity, no cell phones, no computers, no real big connection to the outside world. They don't listen to news. A very different way of life. When you travel through Lancaster, it is one of the largest Amish communities in the country. To recognize an Amish family, look for the green shades.
I am sitting in the main room of a typical Amish home. Now this home is a museum. It actually was a real Amish home about 50 years ago. But this room right here is where they do their church services each week. They have weddings, they have funerals, and most Amish homes have the same setup in this one main room. Now these pews or benches that I'm sitting on right now, they are actually moved from home to home on what they call a bench cart. So they'll put them on a buggy basically and carry them by horse and wagon to the house that is holding the church services that week or the funeral services.
I'm standing in an Amish kitchen that would have been created 50 years ago. I always wondered, living in this area, what kind of amenities, what kind of things they had in places like the kitchen. Now they do have refrigerators, they have stoves, they have lighting, they have a lot of the things that you think about being in your own home. The difference here is they live more like we do in an RV. These are either connected to propane, they do have some things that are solar powered or battery powered. They don't connect anything to electricity. So the home you never see connected to some outside source.
I found this so amazing when we took the tour. Here you have just basically a mixer, probably bought at Costco or Macy's or something like that. But this one is very different because they stripped the electricity out of it. Now they do have a diesel motor outside of the house that runs an air compressor. So they have moved everything, the mechanics and everything over to be run by an air compressor, and they tell us it works just about the same way.
This light looks like any other light. The difference here, this has a propane tank connected to it. That's how the light works. This is an iron. And again, you'll notice there's no electric connected to it at all. It is gas powered.
If you've watched any of our videos, you know that we just put a brand new king size bed in, and it was foam, and it is the best bed that you can possibly imagine. Now I want you to imagine that if you lived as an Amish or a Mennonite, you might not have the luxuries that we have in our RV. Take a look at this bed. The box spring is actually made out of rope. Their mattress is actually just a feather-filled, hand-sewn mattress. The one thing I do have to say is they make the most beautiful comforters that you will ever want to see.
Today we learned a lot about Amish clothes, both for the men and the women. A number of things that I want to point out. They really don't use buttons. Just about everything on their clothes has an eye, hook and an eye. Buttons, there was a reason they don't use them unless they're using them on, say, suspenders. The colors of their outfits they all have a reason for it. So this black outfit would have been for somebody who is widowed. They'd wear a black cap, black outfit, black stockings, black shoes, everything black, so you would know they are widowed. But look at this one right here, and you'll notice it has color. And this is an outfit that they can choose whatever color they want for underneath. This outfit is for somebody who is of age to be married, and they said that marriage, when they met somebody, it could be 3 to 6 years before they actually got married, but when they are of an age and have gone through the religious processes, they would wear white. So there are many different types of outfits. There are also these, I believe they call them religious bonnets. And one of the big ways they said you could tell the difference between Amish and Mennonite, the Amish have a white cap, prayer cap it's called, and it's heart-shaped, which I thought was cute. This is a typical girl's room. It's got the bed that would have been very similar to what we already showed you. The interesting thing we learned is about this hope chest. And from the time girls are quite young, the gifts that they get, like for Christmas, is something that they could put in their hope chest for when they get married and they take these things with. Imagine cooking on a stove like this. Now this was used for making big barrels of applesauce, making apple butter, and canning fruits and those kinds of things. The tour guide tells us that for the average church service every Sunday, they make some 25 to 50 pies. And she told us how many jars of applesauce, which was a tremendous amount every week. Then during weddings, they could get anywhere from 300 to 800 people at a wedding. I can't even imagine how many pies they're making for their weddings.
This is a Maytag wash machine. And here in 2022, Maytag still makes a washing machine that is very similar to this, just for the Amish. Now, this washing machine used to be hand cranked, but in the last 50 years or so, they decided that they could put a gasoline-powered lawnmower engine so they don't have to crank it anymore. Now, something else that we uncovered here in the cellar, or the root cellar they call it, the basement, is this old barrel. And if you don't know what this barrel is a butter churning machine. The flaps have holes on them on the inside, and it just keeps going around and around and around. That is how they make their butter. Now, some of the younger Amish, they just get on their horse and buggy, head up to the Costco, and buy a couple pounds of butter.
On any Amish farm, you're going to find a lot of animals as they help with the farming. This is Molly. Molly is a mule, and a mule is a cross between a male donkey and a female horse. And these are something that are bred. Molly's getting impatient. She knows I have food. The thing about a mule is they cannot reproduce. But why they have mules on the farm? They're bigger, they're stronger, they're meant to do the work that's needed on the Amish farm. Let me feed Molly before she gets too impatient.
I am standing here with Peppercorn, and he is a miniature horse. Now, you might ask why they have miniature horses on the farm. And it's kind of a cool story. Because when kids are young, say 9, 10, 11, 12, and they're just getting into that age where they want to do stuff, well, instead of going out and riding a bicycle, they get a miniature horse. Here you go, Pepper, there you go. They get a horse like this, a miniature horse, and it's small enough so they can then learn how to drive a buggy with that type of a horse on it. It's just really, really cool. I'm sitting in what's called an open top carriage. Now, this is the type of carriage that the young boys might learn with the ponies we showed you earlier, but primarily this is for the unmarried boys and girls to get around. This is the type of carriage that you would see the unmarried boys and girls in.
Here at the Amish Village, they have a replica of a covered bridge. The reason they covered the bridges was because the wood would rot in 15 to 20 years. Once they covered them, the bridges would last a good 100 years. Now, there are tons of covered bridges in this area. And you could use a map like this, or you could do what Dan and I do and use RV Trip Wizard. RV Life sponsors our videos, and we don't move anywhere or do anything without using RV Life Trip Wizard. It is a great app on your phone that'll take you to all of these covered bridges or just about anywhere you want to go.
Here at the Amish Village, they actually have the village store or general store, and you can buy things that, well, you could live the simpler life with. Let's start with some of the cookbooks. You have the Dutch country cookbooks. But you know, every time I use a broom like this, from now on, I'm gonna think about the Amish because they just don't use the vacuum cleaner, and quite frankly, the broom works just fine.
Holy moly, if you like jams, peaches, fruits, pickles, grandson loves pickles, this is the place. They have a huge selection of every kind of fruit, jams, all made locally, and they have my favorite chocolate.
Earlier in my life, we had a milkman that delivered milk to the house. Well, this is a milk delivery that is way different than that because they do it by horse and buggy, and when you get milk delivered, you get a whole milk jug of milk.
This is the family carriage. It's got the one bench seat here and just an area in the back, which I assume is where the children stand. We were told on the tour that some families have 3, 5, 10 or more kids. I don't know what it'd be like to travel in this. Now there is something they had to add to these carriages because they do ride on the roads. They did have to add ways to put lights on the carriage. They also have mirrors on the carriage, and again, they're out in traffic. We learned that Amish people never use mirrors, but in this carriage they do have them for safety. I spent 20 years teaching. Some of you might not even know that. And this is certainly a way different way of education. As you can see, the chairs go from little tiny chairs all the way back to big chairs. In this one-room schoolhouse, you would have had everybody from 1st to 8th grade. 8th grade was the end, and what we were told is when students got to 8th grade, any girls that were the smarter ones would then be the teachers.
I am sitting on a John Deere. That's right, this is a John Deere. It is pulled by 2 horses, and it is actually a 2-row corn planter. So the corn seed is in the hoppers up there, and this will just dig the trench right down through. It's amazing.
It's so cool how on our travels we're always learning something new. Here at the Amish Village they have a blacksmith shop, and today we learned that blacksmith comes from the idea that it was black metal, which was the term they used for iron.
Patti and I travel around the country visiting different places. We try to bring you those experiences like you're coming along with us. And we hope that you're getting a lot of value out of the videos that we put out. So thank you so much for watching the channel. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button, all the buttons, just hit the buttons, please, because we really could use the support, and it helps us within that YouTube algorithm thing. The Amish Village in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
We learned so much while we were here. One of the big things being that the Amish community truly supports themselves.
Now, they don't take any government subsidies at all. You know, we got those stimulus checks recently. They just wrote void on them and sent them back to the bank.
Right, and they do take care of each other within the community. So anything that anybody needs, when somebody gets married, they spend 3 months going to somebody else's house within the community while their house and their barn is being built for them. And, you know, just truly an amazing support system.
No mortgages, no anything. It's they cut out a piece of land from their family property, and you know, 25 to 50 people come and build a barn in 3 days. 3 days they build a whole barn. So,
and a house in 5.
In a house in 5.
Pretty incredible.
It really is incredible. It's a very interesting to observe up close that simple way of life.
Right. And what I loved also was they talked about what time they're on. We talk about daylight savings time, and they are on slow time, is what we were told. So that was pretty cool.
They never change the clocks back and forth. They're always on the same time, and they always seem to be about an hour late for everything that happens. So it is, they kind of are on their own time. It's just a beautiful, beautiful place. But, you know, my favorite place here is that donkey over there really took a liking to me.
He did. He did.
Just absolutely loved it. From Lancaster, Pennsylvania, with my incredible wife, Patti Hunt, I'm Dan Hunt saying, have a great rest of today.
And an even better day tomorrow.